So, Emily, what we have right now with Obamacare is a situation in which we had a 2,700-page bill passed a few years ago, 3.5 years ago to be precise. That has now been amended several times. It was amended twice by the U.S. Supreme Court, which made a couple of changes in order to avoid rendering it unconstitutional. That was wrong, but it's water under the bridge at this point. Now, last week, the president made two additional modifications to Obamacare. First, he said that he's not going to enforce the employer mandate, and then later in the week, he said that he's not going to enforce or implement the income verification standards that are designed to make sure that only those who need subsidies to participate in the exchanges will be eligible to receive those subsidies. The problem is that with all these modifications, we now have a law that is not the same law that Congress enacted, and there's no way that this can be implemented in the fashion in which it was enacted. And so what we need is for Congress to step up and refuse to fund the implementation of Obamacare, in part because the Obama administration has admitted that it's not ready to implement those procedures. In other words, it said that this law is so complex that they just can't be ready by January 1st when all these provisions kick in. That being the case, we need to allow the whole thing to kind of take a break. We need it to take a breather. We need to stop funding the implementation and the enforcement of Obamacare. So by the end of this September, we will need to take a vote on funding the operations of government moving forward. The American people aren't getting any benefits associated with the enforcement of Obamacare because the Obama administration has said we can't and we won't enforce all of its provisions. So instead, we're just going to enforce it selectively. And in this instance, they've chosen to throw a bone to big business interests by saying that the employer mandate won't be enforced. That being the case, we shouldn't fund the implementation and the enforcement of any of it. The American people aren't getting it. They shouldn't have to be paying for it. And so that's what I'm going to be pushing for in the coming weeks, is for us to be defunding Obamacare.